Right, with us now is Henry Bolton, who's a leadership candidate for the UK Independence Party and someone who's also been involved in a lot of projects to do with European security and defence. Mr. Bolton, welcome to RT. It seems that Belgian prosecutors are now focusing their terrorism investigations on homegrown suspects. Why do you think that is? What's the thoughts there?
Well, particularly in Brussels, they have a number of issues with the integration of immigrant communities, particularly North African. The challenge is made more difficult for the Belgian authorities because they're divided down into, I think it's some 19 different municipalities. And I spent 3 years living in Brussels. Any community is going to have a certain difficulty with young men, particularly who are searching for an identity, trying to sort out who they are. Now, in those immigrant communities that have just been ghettoized really by a lack of proper integration, they are very open to being influenced by Islam. And so, you know, they're living there, and the visits from preachers from abroad whose agenda is in many cases to actually do harm to the way of life in Belgium, the culture, and actually to perpetuate an Islamic culture around the world. These people who are sitting there looking for an identity are very, very susceptible to that. And I think it was a Belgian police commander who actually said we're almost now looking at Islamicized radicals rather than radical Muslims. So I think this is part of the problem.
Belgium's Justice Minister suggested mapping or even tracking imams in order to tackle hate speech. Isn't there a problem there, though, that it's going to victimise perfectly law-abiding imams? You talked about there of imams preaching the culture of Islam. Well, there are Christian preachers that preach the culture of Christianity. There are going to be innocent people caught up in any kind of clampdown like that, aren't they?
I mean, if you take the UK, for example, vicars in the Church of England, they are trained in the UK. They are funded from the UK. They have a history here, and you know, they're well known in that respect. However, people coming from abroad are often funded from by causes that have an objective of spreading radical Islam. They have that agenda themselves, they've bought into it, and their mission is a different one. And I do believe that some form of monitoring of these individuals, identification of them, understanding who they are, what their background is, mapping them out, as the Belgians have now called it, I think there is a valid justification for that. We are in a situation that we are not at war with Islam. We are only I would say, in conflict with those who seek to undermine our way of life, our state institutions and our culture. And if that's at threat because of a determination to spread a radical Islam and exploit vulnerable people within communities within our cities, then I think it's absolutely justifiable to take reasonable measures to prevent that. I'd like to see preachers, Islamic preachers in Europe, but particularly in my case in the UK, I would like to see them trained in the UK. I would like to see their funding coming from the UK, and I'd like to see real restrictions placed on foreign funding of mosques and of the training of imams here.